All right, good evening, everyone. Hopefully, you're having a good day. My name is Daniel Young. I am with the Keller Williams Dallas Preston Road office. Been there 10 years, celebrated my 10-year anniversary back in April. And absolutely, it's been an amazing journey. Just 100% enjoy it. It's been life-changing, really just shaping who I am today as a leader, as a dad, as a husband. I mean, it's been amazing. So I absolutely love the real estate journey. If you guys are new, I'm excited for you because I know that if real estate can change my life, it can change yours. I've been on our ALC for 4 years, taught our Go Groundwork, which is equivalent of Ignite in our office for a couple of years. And then currently I'm serving as the interim team leader over at the Urban, KW Urban and Midtown offices. So it's a pleasure. It's an honor to be able to be here, to be able to share with you guys. If you guys don't mind, just drop in the chat uh, where you're from and how long you've been in the industry. Would love to kind of just get a little bit of idea of everyone that is here in the room. Brian, what music channel? That was just my personal Spotify. All right, 3 months. Brand new. Love it. From Nashville. I've got some more experienced agents. 7 years. That's great. Love it. Oh, DPR. Welcome, fellow DPR family member. All right. Well, awesome. Well, love that everyone's here tonight. Um, for those of you who have been in the market just a little bit longer, right? You feeling the shift? You feeling the market slowing down? It's like we joke around saying it's the market of the moment, and literally that's what it is. You say, okay, this is the market today. If you ask me a month later, it might be completely different. So the last few years, nothing has been normal. It's been constantly changing. It's super unpredictable. And so it's definitely a challenge, right? It's a challenge for all of us. And yet, how we can protect ourselves in light of the ups and downs is what we're going to talk about today, right? Generating your leads. Like if we can focus on that, if we can narrow down on the most important activity for our businesses, then I think we can help navigate this current season that we are in. If you guys are able to turn on your cameras, I would appreciate that. It just helps to be able to see, get feedback and things like that. So if you guys are able to do that, would love it. But anyways, so when we think about this idea of generating leads, right? It's how do we find our business, especially in the midst of this market, right? When people are like, don't know if I want to buy, don't know what I want to sell, right? So I mean, we've got to be able to grow our business and be able to take a look and see how we can do it. And so I'm super excited just to be able to share a little bit about my experience and give you guys some insights in terms of like what can we do to continue to grow our business, especially in this season. So our course objectives, we just want to generate business from people that you know. We want to look at your sphere of influence, right? And just the opportunities and the potential that is in in your database. We want to learn how do we navigate the database, right? How do we categorize those people that are in there? How do we grow our database? And then lastly, how do we apply the practices of lead generation in that regard? So hopefully that just gives you a quick outline in a nutshell. If you guys have your book, if you turn to page 5.2, there's a quote on there. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. I'm not going to follow it like completely. I'll try to reference it every now and then, but if you don't have it, don't worry about it. No big deal. There's a quote by Gary Keller. My fear of failure was greater than my fear of lead generating. How many of you guys feel that? Right? You resonate with that? What do you think it is? Why are we so fearful in lead generating? You guys can take yourself on mute. Let's hear some of your objections to lead generating.
Fear of possible rejection.
Okay. Yep. Absolutely. Fear of rejection.
Annoying people.
Yeah, I don't want to bother them, right? Like, how many times can I ask them, who do they know that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? What else?
Mm,
Not knowing what to say.
Not knowing what to say. Yes. Not knowing what to say. Well, hey, how's it going? Well, it was great talking to you. See you later. Bye. It's like, let me just hang up as fast as I can. Those are all really good. Any more? Maybe one more. What stops you from calling your people?
Maybe you don't want to negatively affect your relationships. Like you don't have
Yeah.
maybe you don't want to ruin that relationship with a friend or a family member.
Yeah, all of a sudden they're like going, "You're only interested in me. We haven't talked for 3 years, and you're only interested in me because you want my business." Yeah,
That's
100%.
actually a good one. I think I resonate with that as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, I do too, right? None of us want to be salesy, right? I mean, we've experienced the salespeople. When I first joined Keller Williams, right, I was like going, "How am I going to make it in sales?" I don't like to cold call people, and I certainly don't like to people to cold call me, right? Like, yeah, anyone else resonate with that? Like, I mean, it's like, yeah. I mean, I don't want to cold call my friends and cold call my family and make it feel like I'm a used car salesman or something like that. Like, that's just not what I want to do. And here's the thing though, right? If you guys like to cold call, there's a lane for you, and we can do that all day long, right? We got expireds, we got for sale by owners, whatever you want to do. You can farm your neighborhood. And that wasn't me. And I was like going, okay, well, what am I going to do? I'm like, I'm not wired to be a salesperson. And then what I realized is that, we come in all different, we're wired in different ways. We can run different lanes. There's so many different lanes in real estate. And the beauty of it is I came from a service background, right? And so my heart was to serve. And if we can think about it from a standpoint of like, if I'm a financial consultant, right, an advisor, they help us build wealth through our 401k plans. They help us build wealth through stocks, right? We're helping people build wealth through real estate. And if we can change our mindset to say, people need to hear from me. People need to understand and say they're making the biggest financial decision of their life, and they need someone like you to walk alongside with them, someone that they can trust, right? Someone that they respect, someone that's knowledgeable and can really help them navigate this season, especially in a shift, right? It's been a long time since then. A lot of us have experienced it. They say 40% of the agents out there have never been through a buyer's market, right? And definitely our buyers and sellers have not been through it either. So, I mean, it's again, they need a trusted advisor. And it's more than just the business, it's life change, right? So sometimes we joke around saying we're wearing multiple hats. Like sometimes we're the counselor, sometimes we're a pastor, sometimes we're, like, I mean, it just real estate. We wear so many different hats because people go through so many different things and emotions, right? Anyone feel like sometimes you're counseling the couples, right? Like literally one time I was like walking through, they were getting ready to buy a house, and I was sitting in their kitchen, and we were talking about next steps. I was getting all excited, and all of a sudden the wife starts crying, right? And I go, what's going on? And she's like, I don't want to leave this house. Like, I love it here. And the husband's like, I guess we should have talked about this earlier, And so that happens, right? And so, you know, that's our role, right? And we get to walk alongside with them. So the first thing that we have to overcome in our mindset is that people don't want to talk to me, right? It's all in our heads. And Therefore, if people want advice, if people are looking for financial advice and they're willing to meet with advisors, they're willing to get that annual review with their financial consultant, guess what? They're willing to also meet with us. So that's really the first step for us, is overcoming that mindset. So, let me see here. Yeah, so we got to come back to the basics, right? And understand the core of our business. So we really hit on page 5.3 the different fears and myths, right? Lead generation is really, that's another one. Lead generation is really difficult. Like, oh my gosh, it's so hard. I can't do it, right? I don't have time to lead generate. That's a good one, right? I'm so busy. Well, what are you doing? Well, sometimes I'm going out there and, I was in the office and I was getting ready to lead generate and I made this call, and then, you know what? Guess what? I got to go get my coffee. So I'm go up there, get my coffee. I see, Joe over there, and we start chatting. We talk about business and we talk about sports. And then I get back to my desk, and then, I got to respond to these emails and respond to these texts. And then, oh, wait, it's lunchtime. And we're like, oh, I'm busy. And what do we not do? We don't lead generate. I'm guilty of that, right? And then if you're a producer, guess what? Oh my gosh, my clients are calling me. I got to work on this contract. I got to negotiate this thing. I got to get them, everything all prepared and do all the paperwork. And I'm so busy and I don't lead generate. And guess what happens? Then my business does this, and then it does this, and it goes up and down, up and down. And that's not a healthy way for us to run our business. And then, yeah, I'm afraid of making mistakes. I don't know what sound I say. I sound salesy, right? All of those things, right, are just our natural objections, right? The reality is, if I think about each one, I can handle that objection. So the idea of I don't have time to lead generate, guess what? It's not that I don't have time. It's just not a priority. We can make time. We can make time, right? If it says that lead generation is difficult, well, guess what? There's a lot of things that are difficult. And if I practice, if I'm consistent, then it's not difficult. I just have to keep going at it, right? I don't know what to say. Again, that's training, right? Training, finding a right platform. Here's one of the tips that I'm going to share, right? One time my coach, so I was like, he goes, well, how many contacts are you gonna make, right? And I'm like going, I'll probably make 80, whatever, right? But it's tough, right? I can't do that many. And then one time we had a storm in Dallas, right? So Dallas, we get lots of hail. And then so we got this bunch of this hail, and I told him, yeah, I made like 150 contacts in like 24 hours. He goes, oh, really? What did you do? Right? And I go, yeah, I was calling everyone to see if they needed a roofer recommendation to repair on their hail damage. He goes, oh. So what I'm hearing, Daniel, is you can make 150 contacts in 24 hours. Right? And guess what it was? It was the platform. Too often we make a call and we don't have a platform. We're like going, I don't know what to say, right? I haven't really thought about it. I'm just kind of making blanket dials. And if we had a reason to call, we could make those calls. Anyone say, like, if there was a storm and you had to call a roofer, like a recommendation, just say, hey, I'm checking on you. Do you need a roof recommendation? Because I know there's a lot of scam artists out there. Could you make 100 calls in 24 hours? Yeah, that's an easy call. And so it all starts here with me saying, I don't have a valuable message. I don't know what to say. I got nothing to say. I got nothing to offer. And so we have to overcome that and think and rethink and retrain our brains. And some of it is strategy, some of it's being intentional, some of it's thinking ahead and asking what are the problems I'm trying to solve and things like that, right? So a lot of it comes, yep, Thomas says, right, it's all about mindset, 100%. So we got to get over that, fear of rejection. Guess what? Yeah. And if we're coming from contribution, it's not rejection, right? They're just going to say, hey, thanks for the call, but I don't need it. It's okay. I appreciate it. That's not rejection. That's just saying, hey, we're good. Thank you. But I
Yeah.
appreciate you thinking of me. So we have when we think about coming back to lead generation, we got to understand our business, right? The 6 core competencies are lead. We got to lead generate, we got to convert them and get an appointment. So getting an appointment is one of our metrics. We got to be counting how many appointments are we getting on a weekly basis. Then our second job is to present to buyers and sellers and get signed agreements. So we got to get buyer representations. We got to get listing agreements signed. The next one was we got to show buyers and market to sellers. We got to write and negotiate contracts. We got to coordinate the sale to the closing and then manage our money. Play red light, green light, especially in this market, right? If you're not playing red light, green light with your finances and canceling all those subscriptions and everything like that, right? We've got to be mindful of our money, especially in a slower market. We know transactions are going to be lower, so we got to remargin our business. Think about where we got to spend less, and maybe it's actually to spend more. For some of us, if you are a top producer, guess what? You may not be spending enough money in lead generation. I was about at 8%. My coach said you got to spend more. I was like, oh, okay. I thought I had to save money in this market. But he goes, no, you gotta actually spend more. You gotta cut it where you don't need it and then reallocate it towards investing into your business. So as we come to it, what I want to do is look at this idea on page 5.4. So actually this one, if you have the handout, it would actually be handy. But if you don't, I'm just going to drop the information into the chat. So what we want to do is say, okay, our natural proclivity is say, oh my gosh, business is slow. Where can I go? Let me do some social media. Let me do a little bit of this. Let me do a little bit of that. The best strategy is to hone in on your database and go deeper with that. And let me show you why that's important. Now, if you're 18 years old, this is a little bit different. Doesn't apply to you. We got other things for you. But if you've got your database, right? Start off with this question. How many contacts do you have in your database? Right? And if you don't know, if you don't know, go to your contacts in your phone, scroll all the way to the bottom. This is on an iPhone. I don't know if it does that on Android. And you can get the total number of contacts in your phone. And then what I want you to do is take that number and multiply it by 0.081. There's a reason for that, because according to the National Association of Realtors, the typical person moves every 8 years. And home ownership rate in the US is 64.8%. So if we take those two, multiply them together, on average, it means that 8.1% of your database is going to buy or sell. So you get one number there, right? Then I want to take that same number in your phone and multiply that by 10%, 0.1. And that's the potential, not that they're going to buy, but that they could actually refer you business. So that's times 0.1. And what you're going to do is take those two numbers and add them together. So for me, I just put, I have a lot more contacts in my phone, but a lot of them are just completely random people. So, but in my database, my core people is going to be around 300 people. So then I have my potential opportunity for closings is 24, and then my potential referrals is 30. So I have a total potential business is 54 units a year, just from even 300 key core people. Now, take that number, 54 for me, total number of units, and multiply it by the average commission in your area. So let's say hypothetically, if your average price point is 500,000, You could say it's going to be 15 or maybe a little bit less because all commissions are negotiable. So you could say it's maybe 12,000, right? 10,000, 12,000, whatever that number is. So total units multiplied by typical commission. And so for Dallas, I'm probably running around $12,000 for average closing. So 54 units multiply by $12,000 average commission. That gives me my income opportunity. And if my math is correct, that's $648,000. Anyone here feel like they can live off of $648,000? Yeah, that's a lot of money. Now, the sad thing is this. When I look at my actual production and I go, oh my gosh, how much am I leaving on the table? Right? Then I'm like, oh man.
Mm.
Now, how much do I wonder should I lead generate or not? Like, how much is my excuses going to hold me back? Like, keep that number in front of you, right? Now, look, I mean, even if I divide that number in half, like it's still 300 grand. I'm like, okay, that's still not bad. If I say I convert at a 50% level.
Mm.
But the idea here is so often we chase all the shiny objects. And we're all over the place. We gotta go, I don't have any business. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go here. And it's all in our database.
It
So
is in our
before you-
database.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It is in our database. You're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought I was muted. I didn't know you heard me. Sorry.
It's all good. I mean, it's not that we can't have other sources, right? But if we do not maximize our database, then we probably shouldn't go on to other sources. Like really just hone in on the database. Can I repeat the calculation? Yes, it's number of contacts in your phone or in your database, so that's about 300. You multiply it by 0.081 to get the potential closing opportunities, and then take that same number, multiply it by 10% to get the potential referrals. You add them together, that's your total number of units, and then you multiply the total number of units by your typical commission, right? That's where I get the 54 units times 12,000 equals to 650. Right. Those calculations are in your book. So if you get the book, page 5.4, right? So that's in there. Times 0.081, not 81. It'll be 8%. So 0.081 and then 0.1. Those are the two numbers. The first one is for the number of closings that potential in your database, and then the second one is number of referrals, right? So again, the idea though is, hey, we've got to work our database. Like that's got to be our starting point for generating leads, for generating businesses. So where do you get your contacts from? Let's say if you're new, you haven't started a database, where am I going to go? Where do you guys think? Where can I get all my names for my database?
Are you asking arbitrarily, like places that we have access to?
Yeah.
Yeah, items that sold recently? Couldn't you use that or reverse prospecting?
Well, I'm just talking about building your database. So just people, right? So people that you know. So people have put in the chat, friends and family, social media, your phone.
Church.
Yep. Church.
Church.
Absolutely.
Hey, and church works, because let me tell you, not for myself, but the priest at my church had, I didn't know this in all the years I've been at my church, was buying property next door to the church. And he needed a realtor. I didn't know that at the time. He got somebody else, but it works. They buy property too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you know that you can download your contacts from Facebook? Like you're not going to get their contact information, but you're going to get at least the names. And then that gives you at least a list to say, okay, how do I reach out to them to get their contact information? Now,
Yeah.
you can still contact them through Messenger. You don't necessarily have to have a phone or an email, but they should absolutely go in your database. 100%. If you're friends on Facebook, they should be in your database. Right? So if you have kids, right, and your soccer team, right, that's a natural place and it's very organic, right? So sometimes we say we make so much effort to go try to find new relationships, and I'm like going, why not just use the existing platforms? Where are your natural relationships? If you like music and the arts, or you like even service projects, right? If you go on a serve on a regular basis and the people that you're surrounded yourself with, because now you have a common language, you have a commonality, a connection, they're going to automatically have some sort of trust with you because you have a natural relationship. Your spouse's phone, don't forget that. Go grab their phone and download all their contacts. Yes, and even in your farm, right? Your neighborhood that you live in, you can grab all their contact information. So yeah, we can build a big database, and you just got to start, right? Just if you don't have a CRM, just throw it in a spreadsheet, right? Name, phone number, email, address, and just start building it. And then you can import it wherever you need to go later on. I like to start off with that way just because in spreadsheets are just real fast. I mean, I can type it in a lot faster than putting it into a CRM. But yeah, absolutely. Work on developing that database. So the idea that we have and the lead generation and database models, that's your first part, right? It's lead capture. It's getting people's contact information. So when I talk about lead capture, if I'm at an open house, guess what I got to do? I got to get their contact information. If I can't get their contact information, I don't have a lead. So I got to be able to grab that information. And we can do it in a couple ways. One is called prospecting, and the other one is marketing. Prospecting is me doing the work to call people, to text them, to send mailers out, to do an email campaign, whatever it is, right? That's my effort. Marketing is me throwing an ad on a magazine and waiting for people to come to me. In the market that's shifted, we always say focus on prospecting. And then if you want to, you can enhance it with marketing. But you never want to flip it. You never want to be primarily marketing because it's expensive and your connections are going to be a lot colder versus prospecting.
Can I ask you a quick question on that?
Yep.
So what about like in Chicago, where I currently live, even though I'm part of Downers Grove? What if I did an ad in like what we call the yellow paper, because a lot of people read it, so it gives you a lot of exposure and just certain, niches of areas we want to farm. Is that okay to do? Like put an ad in and see if you get calls or not? Because it's like $40 each time you put an ad in.
Yeah. I mean, if it's that cheap, then certainly you could do
Yeah.
that. Our rule of thumb is to lead with revenue. And what we mean by that is, you've got to make money in your business before you spend it. Because
Right,
there's a lot of ways to build your business for free.
right.
Picking up the phone is free. Messaging on Facebook is free, right? Texting is free. Doing email campaigns for the most part is free unless you subscribe to a service, right? But you leverage all the free stuff before you start going to spend money.
Totally agree.
Yeah. Because it's very, very expensive, time consuming. And again, who are people you're going to get from ads? It's going to be very cold leads. You're going to have to nurture them for a long, long, long time. And so start where, the low hanging fruit, if you want to say it, right? Your natural relationships. Hosting an online real estate event. Now that's a little different, right? So that's great. Like if I'm doing a seminar, then I'm running a Facebook ad, that's a different spend, right? Because I've got a purpose and focus. What kind of online real estate events do you do, Thomas?
Just like a first home buyer kind of tips and tricks just to engage people in there. Or, let's talk about maintenance on your house for upcoming fall or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great, right? Hosting these online events. So like hypothetically, let's say if you work with seniors, right? You could pair up with a estate attorney and say, "Hey, let's plan your retirement. Like how do you protect your asset and your house and getting it set up so that it can transfer correctly to your kids?" Doesn't have to be a long one, and you don't even have to be the expert. You just bring someone along and you're the real estate person and they talk about it, right? So you just leverage other people, right? Leverage other people and dial in and what I would say with what Thomas is doing is in this market, right? As we have shifted, the market doesn't determine our success, but it does determine our strategy because the messaging has changed. The problems have changed, right? So 2, 3 years ago, when it was a smoking hot market, right? People were like, oh man, I can't find a house to buy, right? Now it's like we got tons of, well, it depends on your market, right? So Dallas has slowed down. We got our inventories at a 10-year high. So the market's changed. So the problems that people are facing are different. So whenever you host an online event, whenever you post a message, you got to ask the question, what is the message of the market, right? What kind of problem are we trying to solve? And then you offer a solution out of that. Because if your messaging doesn't match the tensions in the market, they're just going to blow by you, right? You're not relevant. So you got to be thinking through what kind of problems are people trying to solve and how can I be a solution for them? All right. So once you capture the leads, right, through prospecting, marketing, then you're going to go to, so I want to differentiate between a lead and a contact. So a lead is one-way conversation. So let's say I do an open house. I get everyone to sign in and you know how it is, right? We start messaging them, calling them. It's been a few months. It's one-way conversation. That's a lead because it's going one way. The moment that they respond and they say, "Hey, thanks, Daniel, for sending me that information. Yeah, I appreciate it." And then I keep sending them, "Oh, by the way, when are you guys looking to move? Oh, we're looking at end of summer, right? We're having a conversation. Now it's a contact, right? I've made a connection. So that I want to differentiate between a lead and a contact because a lead still is cold. Now, don't give up on them, right? Literally, one time I was doing an open house and I was one-way conversation for 9 months. I was like, oh my gosh, like it's going into this black hole. And then they finally responded and go, hey, Daniel, we're ready to go. I'm like, couldn't have you like just said hi? Like, hey, thanks for the message, right? But that happens, right? It happens. Um, so yeah, that's a lead versus a contact. And the beauty of it is this. So I know a lot of times if you guys have taken bold, we always say, how many contacts have you made? So it's kind of like saying, hey, how's it going? We're good, right? That we say, okay, that's a contact. And like I start measuring it and going contacts. What I want you guys to change though is instead of saying contacts, how many contacts are you making? Use the word connection. Because that is much more powerful than a contact in and of itself. Like I could be handing out my business card at the mall and they say, thank you very much. Well, that's a contact. But is there any connection? There's zero connection, right? So the goal is really, even if I'm talking to a friend, if I can connect with them deeper, even if I haven't talked to them for 3 years, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. It's been so long since we've last caught up. Just wanted to check in and see how you're doing. How have things been with you and your family? Did I just take that relationship a little bit deeper? Yeah. Right. That's the goal. You want to keep going deeper. You want to keep connecting. Doesn't have to be real estate at the beginning. The real estate will emerge eventually, but the beginning, it's always about connection. So think about this question, right? How many connections are you making? And if you go deeper in your relationships, that's a win. All right. So, I would definitely layer your contacts. You know, texting is good, and you can't really build a relationship through text. So we can get a little bit lazy. So sometimes I think what is a better cadence is you can go text, 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 and then make the call. So like if I'm doing an open house follow-up, my first text is, hey, thanks for stopping by the open house. Here's my digital business card. My second text might be, hey, I'm gonna send you some additional information about that neighborhood. Because I know that you are interested in it, and here's either some other homes, here's some coming soon, here's some stats, whatever it is, right? The third one could be, hey, I know that you were interested in schools. Here's another website. I know that a lot of people use greatschools.org, but here's another one that gives you some other information on it. And then by the time I make the call, right, the fourth one, right, I just kind of like served it up on a warm platter because they kind of remember me a little bit. It's not just an immediate call, because the reality is they met like 4 or 5 agents over the weekend. Like I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I'm like going, oh man, we had such a great connection. Like, I mean, we talked for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes at the open house. And then I call them on Monday and they're like, who are you? I'm like, wait, I thought we were like best friends, right? So they forget, right? So you gotta restore the relationship, right? Reconnect with them. If you want to do a video text, I know a lot of people do that. Hey, yeah, absolutely. Because guess what? They're gonna even remember you even more based on who you are, right? Your personality, your tone. Actually, if you create the best thing on follow-ups, I know I'm going a little bit into the next class, which is open houses. So sorry about that. But just create some videos that are generic, right? And then you just automatically send them, because what stops us from sending it is if I have to create it and I have to think about it. But if it's automatically there, I'm just sending them and I know that they're of value, whatever it is, right? Hey, 3 things to look for when you purchase a house. Have you thought about these different creative financing programs? I'm going to share a few on this quick text, right? On video. So that's a little extra there. But the conversation is the relationship. That's the idea, right? The conversation is the relationship. What kind of conversation is going on between the two of you? If it's just, hey, I'm checking in. How are you? I'm fine. It's kind of like my son in college, right? That's how his texts are. Sometimes I like beat my head over the wall. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like I have 2 older girls and I'm like, it's so different. It's like just the communication is so different. But the conversation is the relationship. So what kind of relationship have you built? If you're looking at your CRM, and I'm like looking at your emails, I'm looking at your text messages, I'm looking at your phone calls and the dialogues you have, would I be able to say that you're actually in relationship with them? So look at your threads. What kind of connections are you making? And then what I would do is, then what you want to do is categorize your sphere. So you want to categorize your sphere into like A's are people that are going to be your champions. These are people that they're your VIP referral partners, your past clients. These people are going to send your business. You got to treat them a little bit more special, right? Like if I asked you, what are you doing for your VIP that separates them from everyone else? Do they feel that way? Especially if they're sending you business. Especially if they're sending you business. How are you treating them a little bit differently and appreciating them? Then B's would be people that, yeah, we're friends, but they probably don't send me business. We know each other. We'll say hi to each other in the grocery store, but they're not a champion. C's would be people I've met at the open house, but you know what? Guess what? We're not going to recognize each other at the open house. But we did meet, right? They're acquaintances. And then D's would be people you haven't met. So it could be people in your farm, right? In your neighborhood that you want to meet, but you haven't met. So just categorize them. And then that way you can say, how do I move them from a D to a C, from a C to a B, and then a B to an A? And that's how you start structuring your database. Now, if they have raised their hands and said, hey, yeah, we're actually thinking about buying. We're kicking around. We haven't decided on anything, but at some point we're thinking about moving. Maybe my kids, kids are growing up. We need to find a good school for them. They may not even said they're buying. They just drop you a hint. It's life change, right? Life change is what triggers the move. So that's what you're looking for in a conversation is, yeah, you know what, guess what? My kids, they're going into elementary school. Oh, really? Yeah. What school do you guys feed into? Oh, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, we don't really like that school. Ding, 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 right? That's what you're looking for. You're looking for the signs. And once you get one of those and they've kind of raised their hand a little bit, then you want to add them to a tag, right? They're going to go into your pipeline and you got to spend extra attention to following up with them and saying, "Hey, I'm going to keep in touch. Hey, let's revisit this, whatever it is," right? They go into a special list, which is your pipeline, and whether it's 0 to 3 months, 3 to 12 months, or more than 12 months. So I call them hot leads, warm leads, cold leads over 12 months. You got to nurture it. You got to stay in touch with them because they've just let you know that they might be thinking about it. Let's see, where do I want to go next? So expanding your sphere of influence. We kind of talked about this a little bit, right? Where you're going to find your contacts. You can join groups, you can ask for people for referrals. A great question is because a lot of times we think of saying, "Oh, I'm going to ask for a referral," right? I'm going to be like, "Who do you know that's going to buy, sell, or invest in real estate?" And sometimes I feel like, "Ah, man, that's a little bit feels a little salesy." I probably ask that maybe once a year. Like at the end of the year, I'm like, I'll make a call and I'll be like, "Hey, I'm looking towards building my business for the next following year. And I'm looking for other families to serve. Who do you know that might be interested in buying and selling?" Right? People are okay with that one. Like if I just do it once a year, working towards next year. But another one is like, again, who do you know that might move into the area? Who do you know that might need renovation tips? Who do you know that might in our state? Who do you know that might need help in you know talking with an insurance broker to be reducing their insurance costs? It's just who do you know? Who do you know that might be interested in uh, starting having a conversation about investing in real estate? Especially in this market, right? The opportunity is there in a slower market. Hey, now is the time to get it. If you're thinking about investing in homes, now is a great time. Things are sitting. All right, so I'm down to page 5.12. We are like smoking through this. I might actually finish really early tonight. Hope that's okay. But lead generation, best practices. So you want to track your lead sources. And what I mean by that is where your lead's coming from. Like if I asked you in your business, like, and you look at it and you're saying, okay, my business comes from these different areas. Where are they coming from? You got to know where your business is coming from. We're business owners. We'd want to know. That's why they always ask the questions, right? When you fill out those forms and you sign up for something, they're going to ask you the question, how did you hear about us? Was it the internet? Was it a friend? Was it walking by the store? How did you find out about us? Why are they doing that? Because they want to know what's effective in their marketing strategies and how they're getting the business. And we're the same ways. We want to know where our business is coming from because what we want to be able to do is if we know that that's effective, we want to do more of it. We want to focus on that thing. So where's your business coming from for anyone that's for you guys?
Sphere of influence.
Yep. Referrals, spheres. Yep.
One was personal to me, my boyfriend selling his house. I was just working on his paperwork as we're in class. Signed a contract. That's my first one. And then my sister-in-law, of all people, I'd never expected to contacted me. She asked me to do a commercial retail, just a lease.
Mhm.
So that's minor. It's not a lot of money or anything. I'm not looking at the money aspect of it, but more to help her. So that'll be
Commercial
my
leases can
second.
bring a lot too.
Well, depends how long they stay there, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah. Family members, open houses. Yeah.
that's my first 2 months. That's all I could do so far in 2 months.
Yeah. Love it. Ex-coworkers. Yep. Absolutely. So, I mean, there's lots of different platforms. Retired coworkers. So for me, my three sources are going to be Sphere, open houses, and agent to agent referrals. Those are my three. Right. And sometimes what ends up happening is we're like going, okay, well, I've got those and I'm still going to add other pieces to them. Right. So we're thinking, oh, maybe I need 5, maybe I need 6. So I'm going to add social media to it. I'm going to do some farming. I'm going to maybe call some expireds, whatever it is. Right. The top agents probably have 3, maybe 4 lead sources. And they're dialed in and that's all they do. So you're going to have to ask the question, where is it that you're going to get your business from? So Thomas has got a great question. What are your recommendations for someone that's moved to a new state, right? You're going to have to go out and get there, right? And here's the thing, right? You got to get it fast. So sometimes we're thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to build relationships naturally. Like, I mean, I think you've got to do open houses right off the bat. Unless you like to cold call, right? If you're cold calling, then you're because right now that's the people that have raised their hands and said, "Hey, I'm ready to buy." Because if I don't have relationships in that city, I need to go fast and get business right away. Because again, it takes a long time, and in a slower market, right? That business could be 6 months out. Can you last 6 months without a closing, Thomas? No, right? You got to get on it, right? You got to say, I got to find motivated people ready to go today. So I would 100% do open houses as the number one, do a lot of them, right? And then as you build your net, and then you're on conjunction, you are doing networking, right? So you're saying, okay, what are my passions? What is my natural sphere? So it could be, let's say if you're into arts, then you could say, okay, I'm going to go hang out at some music events and build relationships there, right? So that way people will immediately build trust in you because you have a common bond, right? So, networking events are good, right? I think they're a little bit slower for me personally because I think everyone knows about 10 realtors and networking events. So that's a hard one for me. But again, if you like to do that, or if you want to sponsor it, like if you sponsor it, that's a little bit different because you're the realtor of choice in that networking group. Um, what are clever ways to capture contact info in an open house without being too pushy? Uh, so here's the thing, right? I collect contact information, and I normally do it at the end of the open house versus at the beginning because I want to provide value first, and then I'm asking for their information. Um, One clever way is to withhold information. So like let's say if there's a foundation report, I never bring that. I'm like, yeah, there's foundation issues on this house, and they've done some work on it. Would you like to see the report? Great. What's a great email that I can send it to you? Right. Now I do bring the seller's disclosure, right? That's pretty standard. People want to see that. But if I've got something special, then I'm holding that back. But I mean, they're there. So here's the thing, right? Let me I know I'm going off on open houses again, but you'll get a completely different perspective from whoever's teaching open houses. So I had a limiting belief about asking for the appointment at the open house. And I was like, well, I don't, if there's someone else there, it's kind of awkward, asking for an appointment at the open house. So my coach goes, well, Daniel, let me ask you this. If you go to Best Buy and you see someone walking out with a TV and buying a TV, what do you think? And I go, it's normal, right? I mean, they're there to buy a TV. They're there to buy whatever they want. So I don't think anything of it. And he goes, what are people there doing at your open house? I'm like, they're there to buy a house. Right. They're there to buy a house. They're there to gather information. They're there to uh, find consultants and advice, real estate advice. So is it weird that you would ask them for an appointment because they're in the process of looking for a house? All they can do is say no. Oh yeah, we already have an agent. But it's not weird for them to expect an appointment or for you to ask for an appointment. So, I mean, that's a limiting belief around it. And so I think we also have limiting beliefs around the contact information. Now, guess what? Do I get a lot of people that put bad information there, right? I just got to ask. All they can do, guess what? I get a lot of people that say no, no, or they just put their name on there. It's a numbers game. So I'm not worried about that. I just let it go. If they don't want to put their information, I don't force it. Absolutely not. Because if I force it, they're going to put bad information anyways. So it's just a numbers game. But if you show value, guess what? They're going to be more likely to say, guess what? I like that guy. I connected with him. He was asking me great questions, not coming off as salesy. Now, sometimes what I've also realized is this, is sometimes I get a little ahead of myself and I ask them, are you working with a realtor, or can I help you with your real estate journey to be a realtor? That's too big of an ask because I'm meeting them for the first time. The goal is to make an appointment, not to ask if I can be their realtor.
Well, I
Right.
recently started saying, instead of asking like, oh, do you work with a real estate agent or like something like this, somebody gave me this great tip to ask like, has anyone sat down with you to go over the buyer consult and how the buying process looks like? And then a lot of people are kind of like, oh, nobody did that. So then it's kind of like an open door to an appointment at this point too.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great way to do it, right? It's just a quick meeting. But what would be even better is if you understood. You remember how I was talking about the problems that people are facing? What if you identified a problem that they were saying, hey, yeah, you know what, we're really concerned about the interest rates and things like that. Now, what you want to do is you want to tag on to that tension and say, hey, how open-minded would you to be to do a quick 15-minute Zoom call with me and my lender to talk about creative financing to address that issue of the interest rates? Would that be a benefit to you? Now, it's short. It's not a big commitment. Secondly, it's something that they're really like interested about, right? So I'm just saying, hey, make a commitment for 15 minutes. And guess what? They'll probably go over 15 minutes anyways. They'll ask the other question. But you're building rapport, right? So I'm not asking them that if I can be their agent at that point in time. That's too big of an ask. I'm meeting them for the first time. I'm a salesperson at that point. But would they meet with me for 15 minutes to have a quick conversation? Yeah, absolutely. Right. Oh, you're moving from out of state. So we got a ton of out of state buyers, right? Everyone from California, New Jersey, Seattle, whatever they're moving. So guess what? I love asking them, oh, you're from out of state. That's fantastic. Hey, would you be open-minded to a 15-minute conversation just to talk about which neighborhoods? I've lived here for 20 years. I know that you're trying to figure things out, like what neighborhoods are good. Let's just talk about the neighborhoods. Right? So, I mean, again, I'm not trying to sell them on becoming their agent yet. I'm becoming their consultant first and earning their trust to become their agent. So those are just some ideas, right? Again, it's just understanding your lane. And so that's the open house lane. And that's my lane too. So that I can speak to that. But again, where are your leads coming from, right? And then audit your lead sources and say, okay, which ones are the most effective? Because I could spend a lot of time doing one thing and then realize that, you know what, why am I spending so much time doing this? Like if it's not working out, then maybe you need to reevaluate whether that's the best thing for you, best use of your time. So think about it like, whether it's your agent to agent referrals, whether it's social media, whatever it is, right? You want to be able to dial in and say, these are my top 2-3 sources, and I'm going to go all in on them. The other thing with lead generation is you want to be able to, here's the thing, in this book, it actually says you want to diversify diversify your database. And I get what they're saying. I'm going to go a little bit different direction if it's okay with you. So we have this, we've been in our office, we've been reading a book by Rory Vaden, and he's talking about your personal brand. And this is the first class, right? This is your class from yesterday, which is talking about your defining your value proposition. Like what makes you unique? Because we can't be all things to everyone. And I think what happens is the fear is if I start niching and I say, this is my niche buyer or seller, then I'm not going to get anyone else. The reality is narrowing it down and focusing will actually grow your business more. Think about like if you go to and let's say my value proposition is first time home buyers. That's something easy, everyone understands it. When I'm doing my messaging, it's going to be layering on top of one another. So one time I might be talking about, hey, how do you save for a down payment? This is a challenge in our next generation. Guess what? They got student debt, home prices are rising, rent prices are rising, so they can't even save for it. Like it's a tough issue. So guess what? I'm going to talk about how to save for down payment. Maybe I might even talk about how to get rid of debt. Sounds a little bit Dave Ramsey-ish, but you know what? Regardless of what we believe about him or not, whether we like him or not, student debt is an issue, right? So we talk about debt and how to get rid of it so that we can get saved towards a down payment. Then I might talk about credit issues. Then I might even talk about what to look for in a first-time home. You see how they're all related and they're layering on each other. So my message starts becoming more powerful because each one's connected and it all makes sense. There's like a congruency with everything that I'm saying and everything that I'm putting out. Versus if I start saying, oh yeah, today I'm going to talk about flips. Man, I love design, renovations. And then next day I talk about, oh, first-time home buyers, you know, it's kind of hard. This is a crazy market for you. Then I talk about seniors and like estate sales. Like people are going to be like, what? Who are you? You know, you're all over the place. And so again, knowing your audience, who is it that you're talking to? The rest of the business will still come. It's not that people will ignore you, but what you're going to do is you're going to find a lane and you're going to be like, this is who I am. This is who I want to work with. This is the area I want to work with. And you're going to be able to really build a powerful brand that people are going to be, you're going to be top of mind in those situations. All right, so let's talk about time blocking because this is one of the biggest issues with regards to lead generation. So lead generation, if it's not on your schedule, it doesn't exist. Now, one thing I think that holds us back is we hear the KW model, you got to lead generate for 3 hours a day, and it's tough, right? 3 hours is a long time. If you're a producing agent, guess what's always on my mind? Oh man, I got to get to that contract. I got to get to that paperwork. I got to get to that showing. So then what happens is I'm like, I can't push that stuff off for 3 hours. I just need to do it now. And then I just throw away lead generation. So my suggestion is to start small. Start off with 30 minutes. Start off with an hour. The consistency is key. And then if you can habit stack it, if you read Atomic Habits, you want to habit stack it. Let's say if your office does a daily huddle in the morning, a little rah-rah session, get your mindset right. And if you go into lead, and if you're consistent going to that every day, and then you should say, I'm going to lead generate right after that. That's called habit stacking. And that way I'm building a habit and I automatically know I'm going to lead generate. Maybe it's 30 minutes a day, an hour, but you can do an hour, right? Cause I can say, you know, I know I've got some pressing issues to get to. I got to respond to those emails. It can wait an hour. It's a little harder to wait for 3 hours, but it can wait an hour. And as you build that momentum and as you build it, you can continue to increase that time if you want. But that's one of the keys to building consistency with your lead generation. It's habit stacking, but then secondly, start small and then do it every day. So having a consistent time really, really does help. Now you may have one in the afternoon. So I found out that my pickup rate for phone calls is a lot higher from 4 to 6 than at 9 in the morning. So I don't know if you guys feel that way, but test it out, right? Test it out. Maybe it's noon. Maybe it's 6 to 7, right? Or if you're 20 years old, it's like after 9 o'clock at night. But just think about find your zone, right? Just test it out. Just see when people are picking up and go from there. But set a consistent schedule. Prepare in advance. Who are you going to call? What's my messaging going to be? Right? I spend so much time like, okay, should I call this person? Should I call this person? Right? Like that takes up a lot of time. Like if you had a list of 10 phone numbers, just bust them out and get them done. But then also have a message like, you could be saying, okay, well, guess what? Well, let's see, we got Labor Day coming up. Maybe you have a back to school drive, you know, doing backpacks. I'm going to make the calls around that. Guess what? I can do a lot of calls on that. Hey, guess what? My office, Keller Williams, is doing a backpack drive for September. Would you like to participate? Guess what? I just told them. A, they connect and resonate with my values of being generous. Secondly, I just told them I'm in real estate. Hey, would you like to do an annual home review where we're going to look at your home value to see how much equity you have in your house? We're going to make sure it lines up with your property taxes for your protests. We're also going to make sure that the assessed value for your insurance, you got enough coverage. And then while we're at it, we'll also review your insurance quote and see if there's any savings there. If you would like to do, as well as part of this annual review, we're going to look at any repairs or renovations that you would like to make. And see, which ones would add the most value to your house. That's all part of the annual asset review because guess what we do? We sit down with our financial advisor to do an annual review. So could we do a little bit more holistic home review with them? I don't know about you guys, but our insurance is going through the roof. Mine went from 2,800 to 3,800 in 1 year. It was a lot, and my coverage went down. So yes, that's a major issue in the Dallas area where we're concerned about it. But I know some of you are even further along than we are. Yeah, our companies are starting to leave, starting not to cover us. So yes, it's an issue. But anyways, and then set up your bunker, right? What in your house, right? Are you free from disruptions? I got a really bad habit. Like I like to snack. So then I'll go outside, go to the kitchen. My wife is home. My kid is home. I'm looking around in the pantry. Then she's like, "Oh, guess what, Daniel?" And we start chatting. "Can you do the dishes?" "Sure, no problem." Because guess what? I don't want to do. I don't want to lead generate, so I'm gonna do dishes. And then I'm hungry, and I just keep looking for snacks all day long. Oh man, my cup's running low. My coffee, I need more coffee. And then I go down, and the next thing I know, 30, 40 minutes have passed. Right? You got to protect your bunker. You got to say, hey, this is where I'm going to lead generate. This is my safe space. This is where I'm going to be consistent every day and where I'm going to focus on my business. So here's one thing to think about. If you think about lead generating and you're like going, I still don't know if I want to do it or not, right? Ask yourself the question, how does this impact my family? Come back to your why. Right? If my kids found out that, hey, dad's a little bit nervous about making phone calls, but am I nervous about paying their bills? Am I nervous about having them walk out of college debt free? I have 3 kids, 2 in college right now, 1 already graduated. Right? It's a lot of money. Come back to your why. and let that drive your motivation. Can I answer to them, hey, did I do a good job today? Was I all in? Because we certainly expect it for our kids, right? They're like, hey, yeah, guess what? I didn't feel like studying today, so just didn't do it. And I had a test today. No, we'd be like all over them. Like, what are you doing? You're grounded. And they would do the same to us. Like, I mean, we got to hold ourselves accountable, and we can't allow the fears to drive us. Come back to your why. You know, I mean, there's going to be days that you're off, right? And there's grace in that. If your body's just tired, right? Because guess what? We work a lot, right? People don't understand how much we work. This business can eat you up. So if you need a day of rest, like, I don't know why we do this, right? Sometimes we celebrate doubling down and hustle all day long on holidays. Like, I mean, I remember on one Facebook group, they were like, hey, it's January 1st. Who's making calls today? I go, why the heck are we celebrating that? Like, that's not something to celebrate. Like, we should be celebrating, hey, I'm spending time. I worked so hard the days before. I'm spending time with my family because I got boundaries and I hustled hard the other days. And guess what? I get to spend the time with the people that matter the most. Right. So that's going to be our why. That's got to be why we show up every day. And so when we're feeling not quite motivated, when we're feeling fearful, just pull back and reflect upon your why. Go, man, the cost of it, right? There's a book, Choose Your Hard, right? It's hard to lead generate, but it's harder to pay off, get out of debt, trying to get out of debt, right? That's the harder thing to do. What's the cost of doing it? Its cost is high. Yeah, I could get rejected, but the cost is higher if I'm not able to provide for my family. So pull back, reflect a little bit, dial back in on what's most important to you, and that will help you overcome. So your success activities, right? 10 conversations, add 10 contacts to your database, add 10 handwritten notes. I love handwritten notes. People love them. Like one of my favorite things to do, I don't know why I just do this at Thanksgiving, but I should do it all year round. It's just literally take a note and say, I'm thankful for you because. And that fills my bucket. I could do that all freaking day. Like that literally is an amazing touch. Michelle's showing some cards there. I mean, yeah. I mean, you don't have to do a card. You could do a text, but I think a card means a little bit more. But, you know, you'd be surprised at the conversations that opened up. Like literally, oh, thank you so much. You know, I'm so grateful for you. Like, and they respond, right? They're going to respond back and say why they're thankful for you. And so if you're feeling a little bit down, man, just send about 20 of those texts out and see what you get. Yeah, I was just thinking about you. I'm so grateful for you. Man, you've made such a difference in my life. I'm so thankful that we're friends and our families and our kids are close, whatever it is, right? Man, that's going to fill your bucket and get you going. So that's pretty much all I got. I mean, I know I went a little bit all over the place into open houses and some other tactics and stuff like that. But, you know, sometimes I feel like it's better to speak from my heart and really just share with you guys and encourage you guys in your business. Because again, most of it's mindset and most of it's coming, you know, we got to change who we are, changes from the inside out. And so a lot of times it's changing our habits, changing our mindset, growing from there, and then the activities will result. So I finished in 1:10. I'm surprised. But any questions? Let's open up to some questions you guys have.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So if you were doing an open house and you are getting contacts, how are you actually gathering that? Are you doing it in a digital way? Are you just having them write it down on a paper? What do
Yes.
you find is like works best for people to actually provide that?
Great question. You know, there's pros and cons to each one. Obviously, digital, you can read it all, right? There's no question about that, right? Handwritten, I'm a old school. I like paper, and I got my reasons for it. But that I understand that there's gonna be some fallout. Like there's gonna be some where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't read anything here. The reason why I like to have the paper is because I can flip it over and then start taking notes of everything that we just talked about. So if they said, hey, yeah, guess what? I'm moving here because so I want to be close to my parents, or we're moving here because we're looking at different schools. I can write that down on the back side of where they're putting the information. And now my connection and follow up with them is that much stronger because I'm like, hey, I'm so grateful for you that you stopped by the open house. I know that you said schools were important. So here's some areas that, these schools are great, but I've also got other areas with you if you would want to be open to minded to consider these neighborhoods, right? So again, it helps me with my follow-up to be more personal and to be more relevant. So that's my main reason for liking the paper. When I'm going digital, I just like it gets lost. Like I can't remember which conversation goes with which person.
I want to hear about the QR code, Thomas.
So I created a Google Sheet, kind of like a form, and then I created a QR code for it. So I don't have it around me, I'll show you, but I have kind of like a plexiglass with like a little like canvas style sheet, and I have a QR code in the middle. So either people use their own phones to do it, or I have an iPad on my phone, and if they struggle, I just scan a code and I was like, just type it on my phone. I can help you, guide you through it. And I also have a note section there. So then if they do it on my phone or something, if they talk about like, oh, we're looking for this or like blah blah blah, then I put some extra notes in there too. But I also have my computer with me too, so I see it immediate response in my Google Sheet at this point. So then when I have a conversation and they start touring the house and they wandering around, I go to my sheet and I just add additional notes if I need to. So it works better for me. I had pen and paper, but people write like chicken scratch, and I texted wrong people and they were saying, this is a wrong number, or I don't want to hear back from you ever again. So I was like, oh my God. So capturing on the QR code and having actual digital version makes it easier for me. Plus, you can upload that sheet to command, so you don't have to manually upload that contact. So it just makes it so much easier too. And I also, at the end of the open house, I record a personalized video to everybody. So I send them to a text kind of video, not just like a text, hey, thanks for stopping by. But I sit down with a tripod and I just like record a message saying, personalized message, like, hey, whatever your name is, right? And then thank you so much for stopping. I have these follow-up questions for you. I'm gonna get them back to you within like a day or two, like all that. So I try to do it this way. I get more response, and also I feel like that shows more of my personality of like connecting with a person versus just like a text. I used to at the very, very beginning, like again, I'm doing this for 3 months, so I'm still learning a lot, but I used to send like a paper kind of like a card note in the mail with like handwritten, and I used to like write your favorite local real estate agent. Like that would be my signature. I used to do those, and I don't know. So that was kind of like what I tried, and I don't know. I'm probably gonna try something else in the future, but
I mean, that's really powerful, right? I mean, if you put in the effort, right? And it is effort to do an individual personalized video for each person. That's powerful, right? That's different. You're going to stand out. Like people are going to remember Thomas. Like, oh my gosh, she's the one that actually used our names. Like, I mean, versus everyone else that's sending text, right? They're going to be like, hey, out of the six open houses we went through and the six different agents we met, oh, we don't remember the other ones, but we do remember Thomas.
when I read the Red Book, the Bible, right? It always says that if they see your face, they'll kind of connect more with you. I read that book twice already in 3 months, just to kind of like get that models into my head, kind of pick and choose. So it said somewhere on whatever page it was that if you show your face, like it's more impactful than you sending them $1,000, right? Because they will remember your face.
Love it. What other questions you guys have?
I have a question, like when you started, you said 10 years ago, right? Or
Mhm.
something like that. Um, Obviously your sphere and your circle of friends and whatever, that was the easiest probably to generate leads from. But like, what would be like your second favorite way to generate leads as a new agent?
Yeah, for me, it was open houses. 40% of my business came from open houses. Yeah. So that was my second lane. And then agent to agent referrals has been more recent, probably within the last 2 or 3 years. Because it actually took me a little while for my database to really to get going. I mean, it just from a branding standpoint, like people will be like, you can tell them, and then they'll be like, it's out of sight, out of mind. Like literally my neighbor, he's lived diagonally behind me. I told him I'm in real estate, but guess what? I didn't follow up. I didn't continue the relationship. And so then a year or two later, he had his house on the market with some other agent. And then so I was talking to him in the backyard. He goes, "Oh my gosh, I forgot you were in real estate." That one hurt. But guess what? That was my fault. I did not continue the relationship. Why? Because I was a little bit scared, like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be so salesy, but I don't have to, right? I just invite him over for coffee or something, right? I just didn't do it. And that's on me.
Daniel, I have a question.
Mhm.
I don't know if you can answer it, but chasing this answer, in our main street, the board mandatory class we had to take, like it was like a day and a half. One of the instructors, she was phenomenal, and she gave us a lead generation tip, and I think it was out of Realist or Real out of the MLS.
Mhm.
And I just want to, I'm asking a question in case you know. If you don't know, then you don't know. Because I couldn't remember how to find it. But she said whatever it was in there, it actually does a calculation based on how many years a person is in their home. It does like in the behind the scenes, it does ageism and all kinds of other factors. Now, is that in the Realist or the reverse prospecting tool? Do you know? Because she was mentioning using that, find the most ones that are in your area, and then perhaps send a letter and introduce yourself. And I was thinking of using that as my tool, but I want to do it right, and I wasn't sure if that's where it was at. And I can't remember, and I can't find her. So that's the path I'm on, trying to find this person and ask her.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's various tools. I don't remember if it's in Realist or not.
Yeah,
But yeah, the tax statistics, and then it says how likely are they to move, right? And
yeah.
who knows how they generate that.
The way she did it, I mean, I was like mind blown because it gave an actual list in the area we were looking at, and there was like 20, 30 people. And just to do a letter like that, it would be easy, and stick 30 of your cards in there. And if you generate one, it's two, it's still good.
Yeah, I think, yeah, Remind would definitely have it. So I mean,
Oh,
again,
Remind, that's what it was, Remind.
so what I would do on those is like you're gonna have to say, okay, well, what's my messaging towards them, right? Because again, it's a little bit vague, and how am I
Right,
gonna do it, right? So you can't just send one letter. It's gonna
right, that's
have to
true.
be a long follow-up plan, and then you have to layer it as well. So any type of farming, let's say if I'm
Right.
farming my neighborhood, right? I'm going
I'm
to
farming my neighborhood, yeah.
then I'm going to do door knocking. I'm going to be on the Facebook group. I'm going to be involved with the HOA. That's the most effective way. And the
Okay.
challenge with what you're referring to is I only get one way, and I guess I could door knock, but so
I'm not a door knocker. I just wanna,
so you're gonna say what's my follow-up look like? If I send one letter, well, it's probably gonna take like, you know,
couple
on open
times.
houses, they say it takes 8 touches, right? 8 touches on
Okay,
the follow-up for people to convert. And the average 80% of agents only follow up twice. So FYI,
okay,
you three, you're better than 80% of the agents out there.
okay.
Again, if you only have one touch and you're gonna say, I'm only gonna send one letter, I don't
No,
waste your time.
right.
You got to come up with a game plan of saying what does an 8 touch plan look like for them, uh, to be able to say I'm going to build my reputation and earn their trust, right? So
Maybe build a story around it and do it
build it out a little bit,
once a month. Yeah.
right? Now the
Okay.
other one you could do is if you want to say, okay, well, I'm going to go after renters. So that's an easy one where you say, okay, I know that they're renting. right?
Right.
You pick up certain price points, so it's not an
Yeah,
entry
she
level.
mentioned that. Yeah, that was a good one too.
So, a higher price point. You can see when they go in, and then you start mailing them and say, hey, guess what? Just again, things to look for as in a home as a homeowner, right? And offer value there. So that's another valuable one because guess what? Most people that were their agents, they're gonna drop the ball.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. Someone also gave me an idea that I work with about, because I work in the city downtown in Chicago. They said to maybe list my information in church bulletins and say, are you moving to the suburbs? Because a lot of what we call yuppies or young urban professionals are having families, and the downtown lifestyle is no longer for them, and they want to move into the urban rural areas. So that's another thing I'm thinking about right now.
Yeah.
Figuring
Find
that
your
out.
niche, right? Find your
Right,
niche.
right.
I joked around with my kids and I say, I want to be the hipster dad working in an uptown. And they're looking at me and go, Dad, you're not like
Yeah, I get it. We're getting older and they're getting
Well,
older
I'm
too.
downtown, so they're like, no, Dad, give that up. I'm a city boy. I grew up in the city, so
Me
but
too.
not anymore.
Well, my other dilemma I was going to ask you about too is I'm kind of transitioning right now too. I just started to get into real estate, and then it's another reason why I'm kind of expediting all my classes is my boyfriend and I are making plans to hopefully get married, and because I won't leave unless we do, is to move to Aspen. And I was already, looking into, transitioning my license into Colorado, which is reciprocal. But Aspen is such a tough market. I mean, my boyfriend's like, just get one and you're set for life, kind of thing. But, I'm trying to figure out a game plan. Like, do I want to work outside of Aspen and get some of the towns over there? Because Aspen is it's about, again, networking and getting to know people because it's a different world over there. And I'd want to do dual because I have family here, so I'd still want to come back and go back and forth. So it's a
Yeah,
tough plan.
again, it just you're gonna have to evaluate. Everyone has to evaluate their own
Yeah,
situation, right? So you're gonna have to say, okay, if I'm parachuting into a city, how am I gonna support myself? Do I have to be dual,
right.
or can I, if I have another partner that can earn money, then I have a little bit more runway.
Well, I'm totally dual career all
You're-
the time. Yeah.
If you're just by yourself, that's a hard thing,
Oh
right?
yeah, no, I
Gonna
wouldn't
have
do it
to
by
be,
myself.
you know, that's the number
Yeah.
one fear for everyone. When do I cut the cord of my dual career and go
Right, right. God bless them.
career?
Well, this was also a start for me as, tomorrow I'll be 56. Tell me happy birthday now. I'm just kidding, but
Okay.
thank you. But the whole goal of me going into real estate was to have it as something to do in retirement in 10 years. So it's a little different for me. I'm on my way out the door. So
You're still a baby.
I'm still a baby. Hi, Curtis. How you doing? Nice photo, by the way. How
Thank,
come we don't see your face? Come on now.
because I'm in my PJs.
Oh,
Curtis is in my office.
I love his photo. That is such a smoking photo, man. That's really good. Is that your real estate photo?
Actually, I was at a wedding.
I'm telling you, you should use that as your real estate for your cards. Did you see mine? I jazzed mine up. Look, wait, no, you guys can't see because it's blurred out. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can unblur myself. I don't know if I can. There you are. Hey, Curtis. How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
You don't look like you're in pajamas. But
I
no,
know.
seriously, that looks like a very rich photo of yourself. I don't know if you see yourself that way, but it looks very like wealthy. And that would be nice for like a luxury market. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Speak, prophet,
I
speak.
give compliments where I see them. If I can give one, I give it. And that photo was beautiful. Everybody's laughing.
Well, Curtis is a cool guy, but
It seems like a
all
cool
right, well,
guy.
I want to respect your time. Any last questions?
Thank you, Malin.
I put mine in the chat. You mentioned the annual review. Can you repeat the topics to suggest to pique their interest again?
The topics for annual review. Okay, yeah. So obviously you've got the home equity review. How much equity do you have in your house? You can do a property protest with the value of the home. You can also see if they're covered enough for their insurance. So a lot of insurance companies, how they're getting lower premiums is that their coverage is actually lower. Like, I mean,
Lower, yeah.
your house is $500,000 and they only cover like 400. I'm like, okay, that's not enough coverage.
Or they
Especially
lower the contents price, like what's in the home, the contents.
not the contents, but just the coverage of the overall house. So I mean, they say, hey, this is your replacement cost. I'm like going, wait, you're not even coming close to what my value is.
Wow.
So again, like I remember one time we had an investment property. I think it was valued at like maybe mid 400s, and the coverage value was 250. I'm like looking at this like, wait, how?
Wow.
Why is this so low? So again, just explaining to them, hey, if you're cool with that kind of exposure and you can handle it and you're looking for the lower premiums, that's fine. Our goal is just to educate.
And Danielle, on the insurance side too, I don't know if everyone is aware of this. I used to be an insurance producer. That's the only reason I bring it up, just to help with some knowledge. There's a replacement value versus an 80% factor value. Most people get 80% on their insurance coverages. So if your house burns down, you're going to only get 80% of not even the full value of it, but what it would be to replace it. So you always want to have 100% replacement cost to get the 100% value of what it would cost to rebuild it today.
Yeah. So I mean, again, everyone's risk tolerance is different. So again, our goal
Right.
is not to say you have to have this kind
No,
of
you
coverage.
don't have to. No, you don't have to have it.
And then the other one is like you could certainly talk about repairs and renovations. So like they may say, hey, yeah, I'm thinking about renovating my house. I just don't know what would bring the best value, right? I mean, like if our house, we were like going, oh my gosh, I got to do everything. So should I do paint first? Should I do flooring? Should I do the master bathroom? Where do I even begin, right? So you could just help guide them and say, okay, here's where the best value is with regards. Now, I always say fix broken before cosmetic, right? So if their AC is like 25 years old and they're like going, I'm gonna do a full bathroom remodel. Well, do you have enough cash to cover your AC if it goes out after you do your bathroom remodel? No, I
Right.
don't. Well, then maybe that's more important than your bathroom, right? So again, that's the kind of advice that we're looking, we're giving to them. Or if they say, hey, we're thinking about selling in 2 or 3 years, we just want to start getting our house ready, slowly remodeling it, whatever it is, right? So that's another conversation we could have with them. If they have seniors, right? So if they're an elderly family, or they have, or like let's say it's my parents, and you'd be like, hey, let's have an annual, let's have a sit down with them, and let's actually talk about the estate. Is it in a trust? Do they have a will? Like all these things are super, super important in terms of being able to make sure that the asset is protected in the right way, or that the intention of how it gets passed on is done correctly. So again, those are all questions that we can review with them, and just it's just bringing awareness. That's all it is. And then if they say, hey, yeah, we would like to do it, then we're referring it out. We're just asking questions to bring awareness, and then we can say, hey, this is a person you need to talk to with regards to the will and the trust and all that stuff. Because I think too often we just go, hey, do you want to know how much your home is worth, right? And that's nice, but we got to give them the reason why they want that number. And then what other value we can bring to the table. Because here's the thing, right? We got it. Let me wrap up with this. We have to, when we're talking about finding leads, part of it is just staying in touch with our database. We have to know how to communicate with our database in between the transactions. Like we just cannot be transactional agents anymore. The number one conversation we are having in our office is how can we be home consultants, home management consultants? Because the reason why is, that Rocket Mortgage, when they bought out Redfin, why did they buy out Redfin? They're going to go directly to all your clients and your friends and family through the Redfin app, right? And they're going to start marketing to them saying, hey, thinking about refinancing. Click here. You need a contractor for this kind of repair. Click here. The Redfin app will become an all-purpose communication tool directly to the consumer. And if we're not on top of it and bringing value in the day-to-day, in between the transaction, offering some sort of value that we are their real estate consultant, not just when they need a transaction, Redfin's going to take them. So didn't mean to drop that bomb at the end. But, you know, ask your office. I mean, we're coming up with solutions for it. We're trying to figure out how we can do it better. You know, how we can be a consultant in between. All right. Hopefully that was valuable. I appreciate you guys. Best of luck with your journey.
We appreciate you
Yes.
too.
Yeah, if you guys want to connect, I'm just going to drop my information into the chat. And again, I'm in Dallas. Just shoot me a message and we can connect. But appreciate you guys. Best of luck with your business. And
Thank you, Daniel.
questions, just feel free to shoot me a message. All right. Take care.
Good night. Thank you.